Hello, my name is Dennis Deloach, and welcome to the Uncle Jim Effect podcast. Thank you for joining us and taking the time out of your busy day and important lives to join me. The purpose of this podcast is to help create a movement of people that are finding out their God given potential and then how to magnify that and help those around them, family, neighbors, and friends, to realize their God given potential and to serve people and to create value. And as we do that, we're going to generate a tsunami of hope. And that's exactly what this world needs now. Thank you so much for joining. We're having some great success. I'm so excited and I'm getting some tremendous feedback. So thank you. Please subscribe below and like and leave a comment. We're also on Apple Podcast. We're on Spotify, and we are doing great things because of you. So let's get started. Today's title is Attitude is Not Optional. So we're going to talk about attitude. And attitude is an interesting thing. I'm going to start with a quote by Thomas Jefferson, a great man, one of the founding fathers, and just can't even imagine the intellect that those guys had at that time to create a document like the Constitution of the United States that has stood the test of time for over 200 plus years and more. And I'm sure they had faults, but generally speaking, those were inspired men of God and unbelievable. I think today, with the legal minds and the Constitution and internet and all of those things we have at our fingertips, we couldn't get a group of that many men in a room and do anything. So unbelievable. Thomas Jefferson said, "Nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. Nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong attitude from achieving his." That is so true. If you have got a great attitude, absolutely nothing will stop you. And if you have a poor attitude, absolutely nothing will help you. I've had a couple of podcasts on of people that exhibit some of the greatest attitudes known to mankind. My good friend Chad Hymas, who's a quadriplegic, was in a wheelchair, only has the use of about 10% of his hands. Nothing else works, nothing. And he pushed a manual wheelchair 530 plus miles in the summer from Salt Lake City, Utah to Las Vegas, Nevada. And by the way, I've driven that road dozens of times, and there's a lot of hills, and it is unbelievable. And on the road during that time, it could have been 120 or 30 degrees. So, it took 100% attitude. He doesn't have the abilities physically that we have, and yet his attitude got him through. My other guest was Tom Shea, a Navy SEAL, 23-year veteran, former head of the sniper program, and his stories. And obviously the SEALs are known for attitude. That they just, you can kill them. They're not going to give up. So please open your mind. This is not fluff. We all know, we think people that talk about a positive attitude and everything, it's absolutely a fact of life that we are going to be presented with uh, things in life, and we have two options. I'm only aware, and I'm almost 65 years old, I'm only aware of the two responses in life that we can have. And one is to look at it with a positive attitude or to look at it with a negative attitude. And it absolutely determines our success, our thought process, our results, depending upon which one of those routes we choose. And I'm saying we have to choose the positive attitude. So, attitude is defined as a settled way of thinking about someone or something. We all know what attitude is. It's when I see something, how do I respond? Am I always looking at it from a negative standpoint? We all know those people that when we get around them, they almost repel you. You don't want to be around them because it's always, yeah, but, or you can't do this, or it's just it's just negative, and it just repels you and it sucks the energy out of you. And you literally don't want to be around people like that. And it's the opposite when you're around people that have a positive attitude. You seem to be drawn to them. There's energy, there's excitement, there's joy, there's smiling. there's enthusiasm, and it just generates everything positive. Uh, there's a quote. James Allen, who was one of the great thinkers of our time, said, "A person is only limited by the thoughts that he chooses." So no one in this world can change your attitude. Now, people can do things to you that you choose to change your attitude. But in our last podcast last week, we talked about survivors of the Holocaust, prisoners of war, people that have been in some of the most unbelievably horrible, horrifying uh, situations known to mankind. Even Jesus Christ himself in the Garden of Gethsemane, when he was crucified, even then, the attitude was unbelievable. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Uh, Holocaust survivors looking to give what little specks of bread they had to other people. Prisoners of war getting beat to every day within an inch of their life for years and years, but focusing on positive. So don't tell me that we cannot have a positive attitude in anything and everything we do, and it absolutely makes a difference. We're going to talk about some of those. Attitude is absolutely essential in all areas, whether we're talking about relationships, health, finances, business, anything and everything you want to do. If you have the greatest game plan, the greatest coaches, all the money in the world, and a poor attitude, you will not succeed. You will not succeed. And I know that that is true. So when we think about this, uh, we got to have a positive attitude. We're talking about achieving success or goals or getting the results we want. It has to be a positive attitude. How do you feel when you say, "I'm going to get up early in the morning to work out," and you wake up with a negative attitude? What's going to happen? You're going to go back to bed. We can apply that to anything in life. So if we want to achieve results or goals, we have to have a positive attitude. And a positive attitude basically is just when any situation is presented to me, do not default to the typical human response is, "I'm going to die. The sky is falling. Life is going to end as we know it." No matter how bad something is in life, and that can go all the way through anything you can name, if you step back and evaluate it, there are positive ways to attack it and deal with it. I'm not saying that you can correct it, but I'm saying that when we are presented with any situation in life, we can look at it from a positive standpoint or a negative standpoint. And we absolutely know beyond a shadow of a doubt that going through positive attitude is so much more effective than going the negative. You might notice I'm wearing this sweatshirt, the Alaskan Bear Lodge. And the reason I'm wearing this is, you want to talk about attitude. This past summer, I had the opportunity to go up to visit a good friend of mine who owns this lodge and built it many, many years ago in a beautiful area. I had the opportunity, he's been inviting me to come up there for a long time. And we finally had the opportunity. I was able to go with my three sons and my three son in laws and my best buddy in the world and his son. And we were able to go up there and be in the most beautiful place in my mind on earth. All we did all day long was fish and eat great food and look at beautiful scenery and talk and have fun and laugh. And it's so easy to have a phenomenal attitude when everything is going great, right? And I just want, this reminds me that when life is great, it's so easy to have a positive attitude. But as we all know, those days are few and far between. So, what do we do when negative things come? And in life, you can rest assured every day you're going to get one or 50 negative things or issues or concerns that you need to deal with that are going to require you to say, "Am I going to attack that with a positive attitude or a negative attitude?" Uh, another thing that we get when we have a successful attitude is we're going to grow. If we are negative, we contract. So if I approach something negative, I'm contracting, withdrawing, protecting, don't want to do anything, and it's just not how you grow. We become resilient, right? If it's negative, if my attitude's negative, I'm not resilient because I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to hide in a shell, so I can't go out and experience failure, learn and have growth and grow, and experience failure and learn and have growth and grow. Leadership. People do not want to follow negative people. In fact, I said to start this, negative people repel people. People don't want to be around negative people. It's uncomfortable. It drains you of energy. Positive people do the opposite. They pump you up. They give you hope. They present you with a higher level of energy that you can match. So those are some of the things. It's an absolute known fact that people with positive attitudes are much better off with their physical and mental health. Absolutely true. Uh, I am not downplaying mental health issues because they are absolutely real and require medication at a lot of those. And I'm so thankful for medicine and for people that suffer any type of mental health issue. It's no different than a diabetic being on insulin or a heart patient being on heart medicine. When we have a mental health issue, that's what the medicine's for. Even when we're on that, if you can get people to have a positive attitude, everything becomes better. Tell me relationships aren't better when you have a positive attitude. If if there's negativity and attitude, it crumbles on itself. And then finally, finances. You cannot be successful in business with a consistent negative attitude. It just doesn't work. So, what does a good attitude look like? We talked last week about being a leader and laying out exactly what winning looks like to you. And so, we're going to talk about what's it look like to have uh, a winning or a good attitude or a positive attitude. Colin Powell said, perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. Those of you who do not know what a force multiplier is, that is a key concept you need to study and learn for the leaders of today. Maximizing the number of force multipliers in your life will make you exponentially more successful, whether we're talking about health, finances, business, relationships. A force multiplier is something that when you put in one measurement of energy, you get out two measurements of results. For example, and this is just a basic example, but as a force multiplier could be if you commute every day, and that's a 30-minute commute, and part of your goal is to read or to study, you can, and you know that you got to drive, a force multiplier could, in a simple way, would be listen to a book on becoming better in something that you're trying to improve yourself in. So you're now accomplishing two things at once. So that drive now becomes a force multiplier because that drive not just represents you getting to work, it represents you taking care of another aspect. I used to use that when I had some drive time. I would use that to develop relationships because I would say I'm just not good at following up with people. And so I would just say, as soon as I would have a call list, and as soon as I'd get in my car, I didn't turn on the radio, I didn't listen to music. I would just instantly go to that call list. So I was taking my weakness which was cultivating relationships, and I was taking downtime. And so I was accomplishing the hardest thing for me on something I did every day, which was drive. So that's a force multiplier. Perpetual optimism or positive attitudes are a force multiplier. You put one amount of effort in, you get two amounts of results out. Have to maximize everything in life through being a force multiplier. So good attitudes are just choosing to focus on the good as much as possible and as long as possible. That's it. There's nothing more than that. So we all understand when we're presented with an issue in life that our natural tendency is to look at it in a negative way. Just look at any day of your life and you're going to see that. But a positive attitude starts with anything and everything we are presented with. We have to look and say, okay, look, I know that, for example, I don't even like using this one, but I'm going to share an example I've had lately. Someone close to me had a cancer diagnosis and ended up passing away. That person received that cancer diagnosis. Obviously, that is a devastating diagnosis and a great reason to have a negative attitude. Would that have helped this person? Absolutely not. Would it have helped those people around them? Absolutely not. You know what that person did? That person chose to have a positive attitude and look at it like, you know what? At least I know, and now I can say my goodbyes to people. At least I know, and I can correct the wrongs or any wrongs I might have in my life. At least I know I need to focus on nothing but positive from here on out. At least I know I need to spend all my time on only things that matter. At least I know that life is coming to an end and I need to prepare for that. And that is as hard a decision as we can make in this life, but that's an example of no matter what's presented to us, we can look at positive or negative. We have to choose positive. That does not mean we put our head in the sand and we're, you know, positive. People love to get on people and say, oh, you always look at the positive. Well, what is the option? What is the alternative? Maybe you always look at the negative. So we should always look at the positive. And even if we're solving the issue, we need to look at it through a positive prism. If you can think of a single example of looking at something negatively and coming up with a better option that creates more joy, more success, more energy, more leadership, all of the positive things in life, please share that with me and let's get that to these people. So we do not put our head in the sands. We just realize, hey, what I understand is here's the fact. The fact is I'm presented with this issue. That's a fact. Second option I have is do I address it positive or negative? That's it on any situation. Third is now I get all of the individual aspects of this issue. I get input from others. I look at history. I do all those things, but which attitude am I looking at it from? That's how I'm going to solve that issue. And no matter what the situation is, we have to strive to get a positive spin because that's our best option. And then again, we've talked so much about energy. That positive energy is so important to that. So, what are some of the benefits of positive attitude? We're familiar with that. We understand. Kobe Bryant, who was one of the most fierce competitors of all time and probably one of the most positive people, he just always looked at things positive. He said this: the most important thing is to try and inspire people so that they can be great in whatever they want to do. So, as we are faced with decisions, I can assure you that there are people looking at how you handle it, whether that's one person, whether that's thousands, or whether that's millions or billions. People are watching you to see how you react in positive and negative situations. And what Kobe said, which is so important, and I hadn't thought about that until I read that quote, is that the most important thing is to try and be positive because what you're going to do is inspire other people. And let me prove that point to you. What did I just talk about? I talked about that person in my life who got the most devastating news that a human being can get, other than it being a child, was that they had an aggressive, catastrophic form of cancer that was going to end their life. And I talked about what I learned from them and what I did to try to make myself better. And now I'm talking to you. So that one act by that one person taught me and so many people other than me around them, literally, I think tens of thousands. And now I'm sharing this with however many people. So that's the exact definition of what Kobe's talking about. So the most important thing to do with a positive attitude is realize other people are watching, and it's going to help them in their life. So you might want to think negative, and that's going to give other people the excuse to act negative. So think about that. So benefits of a positive attitude are just simple, and we all know them. Positive energy follows having a positive attitude. It allows you to make better decisions. When you're thinking negative, you don't think right. When you're thinking positive, you look at all the options you have. It's so much better to create solutions to issues when you're dealing with facts than you are with emotions. But most of us try to deal with solutions to issues in our life through emotion. So if you are, you better be a positive emotion versus a negative emotion. Absolutely. You make better decisions when you're thinking positively than you do negatively. Uh, and then we need to focus on the future when this issue is gone. And so, as we think positively, as we deal with this, it leads us into thinking, okay, yeah, this is an issue. If I think of it positive, it's probably only going to last this amount of time. It's going to hurt me financially. It's going to hurt me, but I'm going to learn this, and that. And how many times in your life have you looked back on a serious issue you had and thought, wow, had I not gone through that, I wouldn't have met this person. I wouldn't have learned this concept, or I would not be in this position to make me the person I am today that now has given me so much more. It's the same thing. Think positively. The issue in your life, no matter what it is going to be gone. And when it is, you're more than likely going to be grateful you went through that opportunity. And then one of the final things I want to talk about is positive attitude attracts people. People want to be around positive people. They do not want to be around negative people. And so we want to have a positive attitude and everything because it draws people to us. And we need people in our life to learn, to function, to love, to grow, to associate with, to have joy. All of those things are dependent upon us having people around us. People don't want to be around you if you have a negative attitude. So remember the Alaskan Bear Lodge. It's easy to have a positive attitude when you're in the midst of great things in life. And I think about this trip almost daily. But when life throws you curveballs, have a positive attitude. Absolutely. Holocaust survivors did it. POWs, prisoners of war did it. People with terminal cancer did it. Nothing that can be presented to you or I can take away our own God given ability to have a positive attitude in the face of anything and everything you can name because people have already done it. You are great. Have a good attitude. Keep smiling. Share this with family and friends and get busy getting after it and go out and create a tsunami of hope. Thank you.